Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm really excited to show you guys my theme for this month. I am so happy that February is finally getting over. Who else felt like February was such a long month? Anyway, moving right into this month's theme, I wanted to make it more of a scrapbook, art journal, travel sort of a theme. I was a little bored with the same layouts and themes, so I decided to just take random pictures and cutouts and just kind of make my own messy boho layout. I didn't have these washi tapes, so I made them instead on pieces of butter paper. I also didn't want to tear off a page from a book, so I printed one instead. I printed these pictures from Pinterest. I also made a circle cutout with an S in it. Putting all of this together sort of took a while, but I'm really happy to see how it has turned out. I used a Fevi stick to stick all of this together. I stuck the printed paper on the back of the circle cutout just to give it a little depth. I wrote the title of the page on a black piece of paper and stuck it at the bottom of the page. And then I just stuck all the pictures in a random fashion. I also really like this picture of a girl with a double face palm. Kind of feels like something I would do. Anyway, on the left page I kept a section for my goals. I decided not to make straight lines or boxes this time. I get so obsessed sometimes with trying to make everything so perfect, and this time I just decided to let my creativity take over and not be so perfect all the time. I got this dual brush marker from Miniso. On the section at the bottom I left space for an overview of the month. On the next page I got a cutout and made the calendar of the month on it. And at the bottom I got another cutout for my expenses. I drew a small plant at the top corner because that space seemed a bit empty. On the next page I wanted to make a wish list for the things I wanted to buy this month. And so I cut out this brown paper in the shape of a jar. I actually saw this idea on Pinterest and I thought it was a really cool idea. So I decided to use it for this month's theme. I took this picture a few years back when I had gone to Singapore, which was my first ever trip outside India. I also wrote a small quote at the bottom. Moving on to the next page, I wanted my overview to be a little smaller this time. If you've seen my previous bullet journal videos, then you know that I use both the pages to make my monthly overview because I like having a lot of space to write with. But this time I decided to make a smaller overview. I made a small box for the calendar overview on the right side. Like I said, I didn't want to make any perfect boxes or lines, so I just made it freehand. On the left side, I stuck a few pictures I liked from Pinterest. I'm going to Kerala this month and these trees just reminded me of that. I also love sunflowers, so I stuck a picture of that as well. I also stuck this cutout for any important notes this month. I wrote the title of the month on a black piece of paper. I just love the rough edges of this cutout. I wanted to fill the blank spaces of this page with some writing throughout the month. But the top looked really empty, so I decided to draw a doodle on it. I also love pink roses and I love this picture, so I cut it out and stuck it on this sort of a travel photo. I literally searched travel photos and this popped up on my Pinterest. I also cut out this piece of paper in the shape of a tag. I'm not sure if this looks like a tag, it's not perfect, but I used it anyway. I made lines on it with a brown brush pen to write down any events. I'm so happy to see how this has turned out. This has to be one of my favorite layouts from this spread. On the next page, instead of a quote page, I just stuck all the pictures I had to kind of give out a travel feel. I printed out pictures with a sort of yellow ochreish color scheme and some black and white stickers. I decided not to make a habit tracker or a mood tracker this time since I had already made a digital one and I printed that out for this month. On the bottom, I actually wanted to write a travel quote, but instead I just ended up coloring it with a grey brush pen and writing "Let's go." On the right side, I wanted to leave this page for a brain dump. I was going to fill this up later in the month and just do some watercolor paint on it. But I decided to stick random cutouts of brown and black paper instead. I wanted it to match this month's theme, and I'm so happy that I did this because it looks great and I can't wait to fill this page out. For my weekly spread, I went a little crazy. I wanted to fill up all the corners as much as I could, and I wanted this to look as messy as possible. I wrote the title of the month with my Tombow brush pen in the circle cutout at the top. I drew a small mountains doodle on the black cutout at the bottom. I wanted to write adventure on it, but I was afraid my font wouldn't fit and I would have to write it smaller. So I just wrote magic instead, which also looks really good. On the right side, I stuck a rectangle cutout for my schedule. My schedule is pretty much the same throughout the week, so I decided to just put that in one corner. I wrote the days of the week in a random fashion and went over it with a brown brush pen. The rest of my weekly spreads for this month are the same. I just didn't have enough pictures at the time of the shoot, so I didn't show them. Alright you guys, it's time for a final flip through. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and liked my messy sort of a scrap journal travel theme. Also, if you decide to recreate this, then do tag me on my social and let me know. I would love to see some of your recreations. My social links are down below in the description box. Also, just a quick thing before we go, I made these printable planners in A5 size. These are monthly, weekly and daily planners. I've put them up on my Etsy shop. The link's in the description if you want to go check them out. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.